Safety seal, tire plugs. I've got so much junk. I've had some of this stuff for 20 years. They go right there. Pretty crazy, huh? Grinding discs, those are new. I was working on the Monza last night. It's been up here on jacks for the last couple weeks. And I got the wheel cylinder reinstalled. I honed it. I didn't make any videos last night. The mosquitoes were biting. I was too busy swatting them. And to get the nuts, the bolts on the back, they're in a tight spot, and I had to enlarge the hole with a drill and a file. And you'd think that all the cars would be recalled ever made that have steel brake lines that rust away and lose your brakes. This car's got no rust at all, even though there's thick undercoating. Look what's behind there. Just the lightest coating of surface rust. Arizona car. Gotta love it. Got some grease. It's got new ball joints here and there. I think the bottom ones are new. So I got that honed last night. I put the wheel cylinder back together and I went to bleed the brakes, and there was no oil in the master cylinder because I have a leak where the nut meets the fitting. That stamped steel nut just holds the receiver in place against the trunk pan. But it's leaking there. Put some Teflon tape on it. I don't know why it's leaking. It's all original, never been touched, and it's leaking. Drip, drip. Brake fluid leaks into the freshly restored trunk and peels all the paint off. What a mess. What's the plug for? I went to put these wheels on the trailer to take them to the house on the lake to put them back on the BMW, and this one was flatter than a pancake. This was the back one that used to go flat every 2 or 3 weeks. So I put some water on that, on the edge of the rim, which was a little corroded. Not too bad, not as bad as the front one. No leaks. I sprayed some on the spot where the screw was. Remember the screw I pulled out of there, the self-tapper? There it is. So it just penetrated the tire. Anyway, speaking of penetration, my friend just sent me a message, said I'm shooting blanks because I'm sending incomprehensible messages. And I got a message from a friend of mine who never texts me unless I text him. So we'll stick this gizmo in. I'm going to set the camera right here, and you can watch me struggle. Got a good view of what we're doing? Barely. There. I'm going to stick this in. I've got a better tool, but I want to use this one for stupid reasons. There. Stick that right down until the cord's barely sticking up. Rotate it 90 degrees, whatever, and pull it back out. There's a slit in the end of that threading needle, and the cord just goes right through that slit at the end. You can't see it, there's a slit there. That's it. The tire is now plugged with the best tire plugs money can buy. Safety seal. I got a pretty good success rate, 75-80%. Sometimes they leak, sometimes you got to put a second one in. You don't have to burn the end off. I got a better system than that. I think it's on the Harley. It uses a fancy machine. It puts a rubber plug in, and the plug fits better. Puts a soft rubber plug in. But I think it's on the Harley, and I'm too lazy to walk through the yard. So I've almost got the brakes together. Maybe I should do all 4 brakes. Problem is you got to undo those nuts to pull the wheel cylinder away from the backing plate, because there's dimples here that in case the pins fall off that actuate the shoes, the piston shouldn't come out of the cylinder because of that dimple right there. So you got to loosen the whole assembly, and you just can't get in there. You just can't get in there to tighten that nut. Can't put a socket on it because the steering knuckle's in the way. So then you can loosen it, but you can't tighten it because of the angle. Universal joint won't work. You could always grind the steering knuckle, I suppose. But the hole wasn't stamped into the cylinder in the right spot. And I tried for half an hour until I finally filed the whole oval. It can't rotate because the hole for the wheel cylinder is round with a flat on top. So the bolt holds it in place, but it doesn't stop it from rotating. I'm going to close up the shop here. My tires are all balanced. Now I've got some air in here that's going to stay in here, hopefully. Nice and filled up to the brim with my made in China tires. Yep, check your tires. Made in China, Indonesia, Singapore. Cheap! Cheap tires. And they're made in China, all full of nice white grease. Made in, right there. Made in China. Not like a Jaguar made in Coventry. Yeah, Jaguar. Hey girls.